far away.
Coach, can you, depth-wise, where does this kind of compare? Obviously, you probably feel a little bit better this year than you did going into last year at this time, but how do you think your depth is heading into fall?
Right now, we've got probably the most depth that I've had since I've been here, and that's a good thing to have. Usually in the spring, we have some guys that are not participating because of some medical reasons, but going into fall camp, this is a great surprise.
Everybody back for fall camp? Should everybody be cleared, Jaden?
Everybody's cleared and ready to go, so it's going to be exciting.
Just the amount of experience that you have back here, do you feel confident that this could be a pretty special spring?
Yes, we've got two returning starters, and then we got some young guys who played significant time last year, and then we got some young kids that will add a couple more pieces to the puzzle. So I feel very good. Just got to make sure those guys that are behind the starters are ready to go at any time. They won't play away from playing.
One of those, Jaden Lucas. Tell me about him. He's an upstate kid.
I mean, if you go back and you look at the young man coming out of high school, extremely athletic, made great plays. Just look at the ACC championship game, and he made a heck of an interception. But it's a telltale sign of something that he did the last game he played in his high school career at the Under Armour football game.
What stands out about this group that you think can be a defining characteristic? What are you trying to cultivate out of them that they already bring to the table? That
everybody's a starter. That you're just one play away from being a starter, and that you got to be ready when your time is called.
Can you put a value on having Sheridan come back for that extra year, that leadership that he brings?
Anytime you can get a young man that has significant snaps like Sheridan, who's been through the test, through injury, through a lot of adversity, he's like a wise man. He can pour into these young kids and become that leader when I'm not around.
When you look at this group, what is the strength that you have?
I would say athleticism, leadership, guys who've had a significant time of playing. Guys who've been through the fire. You talk about a kid, Toriano Pride and Jaden Lucas, who come as true freshmen who played a lot of snaps, which is very good. So now you feel comfortable with the depth. So now you have four guys legitimately that can go in any game and start.
Nate just reflected on his season last year. Where do you see the first stretch of him? What's next?
You saw continually getting better, game after game, getting more confident, getting more situated in his position and in his role, to a point where he didn't want to come off the field. So it was good, and hopefully he can take that from spring and carry it over into the fall.
Devin talked about maturity with him last year, and he's talked about that also. Have you seen a jump from him in that stuff, maybe off-field and leadership-wise too?
Most definitely. I mean, you're in a program such as this who basically squeezes you. You're not going to be able to be stagnant and stay the same in this type of program where there's a lot of people that are pushing you and pulling you and pressing you to be better.
Toriano is a guy that maybe could have let his confidence, fail a little bit last year, but it didn't look like it did. What do you look for him going into this season?
Big things. The kid's a true freshman. And I don't know too many defensive backs that have never given up a touchdown. The greatest ones have given up a touchdown. It's those that that come back. That's what you want to see from a young man, and he did. And so, from that aspect, I'm very excited about it.
With Sheridan, I know we talked about him having been a veteran guy, but just what do you feel like you need to see out of him in the fall?
Well, I need to see a guy that, just goes out there and just lays it on the line. This is his last hurrah. So it's no more, hey, coach, I'm coming back for a 6 year. He's done. So it's for him, it's just time to go out and utilize all the skills that he's acquired and all the God-given talent that has been given to him and just let it go.
Now, you do have some freshmen coming in. What is your plan for them? What do you see out of those guys?
Well, the plan is, hey, I recruited them to play. I'm not here to put guys on the bench and heck, I may die tomorrow. So I want to see these guys play, and I'm sure they want to play too. So the plan is, hey, get them to learn the playbook, make that transition from high school to college, and let's go.
What's realistic for a guy like Mason Kelly who comes in just down the road and coming all the way? What's realistic for year one?
your run is to get on the field in any aspect, special teams, offense, defense, wherever he can find a role and flourish.
Is he an underrated guy?
I mean, when you say underrated, I don't know. We've been able to watch this young man grow up over the years, and maybe if his school played the #1 school in the country, maybe, I don't know. We're excited to have him here. I know that. I'm glad he's rocking with me.
With a two-way guy like that, how does the practice time, coaching time kind of get split with someone like that when he comes in knowing he's going to play both sides?
Well, what you want to do is you want to make sure the kid has a strong foundation on either side of the ball. You don't want him to flip-flop around and he just be out there like a fish out of water. You want to get him to a place where he has a strong foundation where he can have confidence. Because that's the one thing a lot of times these kids don't have when they come from transition from high school to college is that confidence that they need to be very good.
Does he remind you of anybody who's come through the program before that you coached?
They're all different, in aspects, and I haven't been around him, for a couple of weeks, so, just to, you see him from afar, but now when you have them with you day in and day out, and you can truly get to know these young men, I'll be able to give you a better assessment of it.
Do you remember the last two-way guy you coached here, or any experience doing that at Clemson, or maybe in a previous someone who split both ways?
Ray McLeod. And if I could rewind again, heck, I thought Ray would have been a better cornerback than he was a receiver. But, hey, he's having a successful career in the NFL, so, hey, it's worked out for him. But, me being selfish, I wish he played a little bit more defensive back.
When you're looking at young guys, first-year guys, what is the one thing that kind of sticks out as like, okay, this guy is ready to play at this level right now?
A guy that plays at a tremendous speed. Now, not ultimately, he's a guy that, drill, whatever it is, he's going full speed. He makes a mistake, he's going full speed. And some people don't realize what coaches say, if you make a mistake, make it go on full speed. It means, hey, whatever you do, just go. Don't think about it, just go. As my mom used to say, if you're thinking, you're stinking. I need a guy that's not thinking, just playing.
How did that question impact you growing up? If you're thinking, you're stinking.
Oh man, I was one of those cerebral kind of guys. I always used to think, and maybe that's why my transition was a lot slower, than a lot of these young men today. And heck, they're faster, they're bigger, they have more tools. Technology's changed, so they're more apt right now to play than I was when I was coming up.
You've been with this program for a while, guys. Just what's kind of your assessment heading into this year? Obviously, last year was a lot of talk about Clemson not being the ACC champion and down here per se, and then to get back up top this past year. What's kind of your take on Clemson in 2020?
I think we have all the ingredients to be very good. Now, what we do is another thing, but I truly believe we have everything we need in order to be a very, very good football team. We just got to put it together, and like I said, the stars have to align. Guys being injury prone, being healthy, being availability, so times have changed now, where you got a lot of other things that, come into a compass of these kids' mind. You got the social media aspect, you got NIL, you got all this other craziness. So hopefully if we can, feed the focus and not the distractions, we'll be very good.
You talk about depth. How does this shake out compared to some of your other groups? One of the more deepest you've had?
Yeah, since the first second year when I was here, when J-Ron Curse, Mackenzie Alexander, Marcus Edmond, when I had those guys, I had a very big group. Now I see it getting back to it. We've got guys on the roster that are very interchangeable. They can play multiple positions and have the aptitude to play.
You mentioned the NIL situation. What's it like for a guy like you to see the evolution of that and try and help your guys navigate that? I know you guys have professionals in place, but as a mentor, as somebody with a close relationship with these guys, what do you make of it, and how do you try and help the guys make smart decisions through it?
Well, the thing about it, it's a good situation. Some people are using it for the right way, and some are using it for the wrong way. My advice for these young men is, don't get so caught up in chasing this money that's not forever money. It's not sustainable money that's going to last you a long time. You know, do what you got to do. Build your brand. You know, build your brand, because ultimately your brand is what's going to carry you. Your man, your character is what's going to carry you. You know, and I want guys that want to chase the NFL. You know, because I don't want guys to lose sight what they're coming for, to graduate and hopefully to play in the NFL.
Can you speak on maybe what you think the wellness in general, mental health of your team, your defense just coming into the offseason, anything over the summer that revamped you and your coaching staff, or maybe even the players just feeling healthy and feeling well coming into August?
Just getting feedback of guys working out, older guys stepping up and becoming leaders. You know, that's what you want to see in a program. You know, you want to see those kids start taking some accountability, you know, and making sure things are getting done the right way. And that's, like I said, you don't always want to have a coach to spearhead something. You want the players to take their own initiative and make something happen. And I've heard a lot of things taking place this summer that's very good.
Who have you heard that's stepping into that leadership role?
Rook, Tyler Davis, Sheridan has, you know, and I've always been on Sheridan to voice his opinion and step up, and so it's good to hear those guys, you know, articulating and talking up things and being leaders.
Second year of Wes going as DC, I guess. How have you seen him grow as a coach from that first year to now?
I mean, I've been here, like I said, besides Wes, we've been here probably the longest on the defense side of the ball, so I've always seen it in him. You know, it was just it's like, you know, being a caged person and somebody letting you out. You know, it's like, you know, Wes has a knowledge and a depth of defense, and, you know, to see him be able to put together was good. You know, this year is going to be a better product.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you were on the Panthers in '96?
Yes.
Okay, just Musa Muhammad, '96, you know, Panthers Ring of Honor. You remember anything battling with him back then, and just your perception on that?
Moose was strong. And, for me, I played in the Big East, and there weren't many receivers except for a couple of receivers that played at the University of Miami that were that size and that strong and that gifted. He was one of the best that I've ever faced, you know, from that aspect, and good guy, you know, good family man, and I'm happy to see him going to receive the accolade.
You mentioned the defense is going to be a better product this year. Point blank blunt, why?
Because, you know, it's year two. You know, there were some changes. You know, you got another defensive coordinator, so guys have to get accustomed to Wes and his style. You know, and like I said, you know, it's the only way to get better. You know, more knowledgeable, guys taking more ownership. You know, and like I said, the leader stepping up.
What does Wes bring? I mean, it seems really obvious. We were told what an intellect he is and the brain that he has. But when you're in the huddle, when you're in those meetings, when you're meeting with your athletes, how does he, as a DC, change the picture and change the dynamic?
Well, one, he doesn't get caught up in the emotion and everything. You know, he's a calm, you know, cool, collected guy. He does, you know, he'll get excited. Yeah, he'll get excited, but you know, in the same token, he has a level head. You know, he's not going to come in the huddle and just, you know, bash and rah and all that. He's going, you know, make sure everybody's even keeled and, you know, explain what he wants to be done.
What's the mentality of these guys? 2 of the last 3 games didn't go very well. The last time we saw them didn't go very well. What was the mentality when you saw them got them back in the spring? When you see them not have success, sometimes they listen.
Well, you know, you learn from your past mistakes. You know, and this is, like I said, when you talk about maturity of a team, you see a team that, you know, we did not finish well. And then that's why you see a lot of the young men who have, you know, who are supposed to lead come back because they have something to prove. You know, and that's a good thing to have that chip, you know, because I think that's what you need in college football, you know. And that's one thing about college football that I like is the passion, you know. And so you'll see, like I said, you'll definitely see a different defense, a different team.
It seems like over the years, special teams is one of the aspects of football that's gotten a little bit more restricted in terms of just like when I was growing up, at least, so many stars, so much fun.
Right.
How's your perception on coaching special teams now when it's just kind of a little bit more condensed area of football?
Man, you just have to adjust, because that's the only way. And the rules are not going to change, And so you've got to make do what you within the rules that you have, and you just got to go hard. I mean, it's still an aspect of a game that will change. One play will change the game, so you've got to be still on that cutting edge and still be aggressive and intense. And so that's what we have to do.
Shelton Lewis, what did you see? Take away from him coming out of the spring?
Wow, I mean, you don't see him cut like that anymore. A lot, let's put it that way. Young man who is focused, who has leadership qualities, and is not afraid to voice his opinions with the older guys. A lot of times you have a lot of freshmen that come in that, they just sit over there and you never hear of them. Well, Shelton's a guy that he's going to get on the older guys. Just as, he's a guy that wants to be good. He wants to be coached. And it's a pleasant surprise to see him, go to work. It kind of gives you that Mackenzie Alexander-ish type of feel, work ethic where he's just going to constantly work.
Going back to Wes, you mentioned his kind of coaching style. Is there anything that he does in that sense that's either different from or similar to other good coordinators that you worked with?
I mean, I try not to compare coordinators. I mean, because heck, I can go back to Jim Johnson. I mean, they all have great attributes. The thing is, they're good people. And heck, that's why I'm here. I've been here going on season 11, and you don't stay in certain places where, one, you're not liked, and two, that you don't like the people that you're working with. So he's a guy I love working with, and so that's why I'm here.
You mentioned Nate Wiggins earlier. Where specifically in this game would you like to see him grow the most?
I mean, in every aspect. When a young man tells me he wants to go to the NFL, then my mindset is, hey, what are they going to do to not give you the money that you deserve? And we're going to work on that. And so I would say, early in the summer, I sent him one of these pre-scouting things that somebody had sent me, and we just went down and we talked about, hey, this is what we need to do, and so in every aspect of his game, if you want to be that guy, then hey, this is what you need to do. So everything. I mean, heck, he can work on footwork, tackling, everything. There's for me, I'm gonna get that blood out of a stone. Even though they say I ain't gonna get it.
And then when we lost the line, we added on something that re-asked that special teams question, with just emphasizing still the importance of special teams in a day and age where it seems like that aspect of the game is a little bit more restricted.
Well, you have to. I mean, just look at our game against Notre Dame last year. We had a block punt go for a touchdown, change the dynamics of the game. So it's very important, and so we stress it. And I said, with the amount of depth that we have this year, we have a lot of guys that now we can press into that play when other guys may be injured or may need a break. But special teams is definitely important. So come game one, we got to go get it.
You've known Haley for a while. Coming in here, what are the early returns?
I mean, he is what we saw when he was 8, 9 years old. A young kid who was scrappy, who had a chip on his shoulder, who's always living behind his brother. So it's now an opportunity for him to step out of the shadows. And the word on the street has been, he is what he is supposed to be. He's a worker, great footwork, good football IQ. And so I'm looking forward to actually now being on the other side and being able to coach him.
And then with turnovers, you guys were very active in the spring game, but I know, Peanut Tillman, Peanut Punch, is there something you guys stress? So obviously you hope the receiver never catches the ball.
Right.
You want to secure the situation and then go for the turnover.
Right.
But, what's the relationship with kind of forcing some turnovers?
Well, the thing about it is the more turnovers you force, the more opportunity you give your offense an opportunity to score. We have a device in our meeting room that every time they come in the meeting room, they hit the ball because it's all about the ball. Defensively, if we can get the ball out, then we're doing what we're supposed to. And if our offense can keep the ball in, then they're doing their job. And so it's something that's stressed every day. We tally points on fumbles, caused fumbles, or opportunities on the ball. So if a young man doesn't take an opportunity for a punch on the ball, he gets deducted points. So, you know, and at the end, you know, there's a prize, and so everybody wants to win that prize. So, you know, you're going to see a lot of hungry guys going after the football.
How will this position group define success this year?
Say that again, excuse me?
How will this position group define success this year?
If we do our job. You know, football is a team sport. You know, it's not basketball where one guy can take control of the game. As you know, we are only as good as our defensive line, as our linebackers, as well as, you know, our defensive line is rests on our linebackers in the secondary. So we all work collectively together. And so if we all do what we're supposed to do, we'll be a very good team.
Who's a guy or guys that people may not know their name yet, but by the end of the season you think they'll look made a splash?
That's hard to. I can't really answer that because I've not seen the younger guys in. So it's it's one thing to be said when guys are running around with shorts and t-shirts on, but it's another thing when guys put pads on. So if you see me say the third day of pads, I'll be able to answer that.
You think Miles? Just kind of where he is.
Miles is working hard. He looks good. I mean. So it's going to be, people say he's ahead of schedule, and so I'm anxious to see what he looks like. You know, he's a guy. Unfortunately, you know, he had an injury, and so as I tell him, you know, Coach Reed had that same injury, so I don't want to hear about any complaining. Let's go get it.
Coach, we talked to Wes about what you learned in year one at the helm. Obviously, you come with more experience. Do you still learn things each year about yourself, and what are those types of things?
You have to. I mean, you've always got to be evolving in this game, because if not, you're going to get left behind. Because there's some young kid that's behind Mike Reed that's saying, hey, I got to go get Mike Reed's job. And so one, as Coach McCory says, I got to stay relevant. And the way you stay relevant in this game is you're always seeking knowledge. You know, so I went and did a week, basically professional development with some other defensive back coaches, and so just trying to find different ways of teaching that I can get my guys to learn quicker and being able to turn around and make plays. You know.
If there was one thing in your coaching career that you could experience for the first time again, what would it be?
Wow. I mean, I can't really pinpoint it, you know, because every day is a blessing for me. Anytime I wake up and the sun's up and I get to put my feet on the ground and run around, that's a blessing. So, I mean, everything's good for me. I'm one of those guys that even if it's bad, it's good. You know, I try not to let negativity come into my mind. You know, so I'm always trying to find positivity in everything that I do and say. And for me, to be able to bring that to my players and to have them to learn how to do that, because mental health is very big now. And so to get these young men to not listen to the negativity and continue to breathe positive things in their mind is what I love to do.
You talked about spending some time with some other defensive back coaches. How unique is college football that you guys are all competitors and you're competing week in and week out, but you still take time to learn from each other and teach each other?
Well, when you've been in this game as long as I have, you build friendships. And it comes to a point that, I mean, yeah, on game day you compete, you know, but, you know, at the end of the day, when we walk away, all right, what do you want to be remembered as? You want to be remembered as that coach over there that didn't talk to you, you know? And for me, I'm always trying to bring somebody else with me. So if there's a young coach, hey, I'm bringing him with me, because I remember when I was a young coach, you know, there was somebody that brought me along. You know, so it's my service to the game of football and to men, period, is to bring somebody along.
Who would you credit with bringing you along like that?
Man, there are a bunch of coaches. I mean, you know, to talk about Steve Spagnuolo, the defense coordinator in Kansas City, Leslie Frazier, who was the coordinator at Buffalo Bills, Trent Walters, who's now retired, who, you know, at one point in time, Trent took a job where I was working with the Eagles, and I thought I was going to get elevated. And Coach Johnson said, Mike, you're not ready yet. I'm going to bring Trent Walters in. And Trent, you know, to this day is a guy that I will call up in the heartbeat and say, Coach, I need some help, you know. And so those are some guys. You talk about Larry Slade that used to be at the University of Tennessee, was at Louisville, and he may not know, but I used to watch videos of him. You know, so that's the one thing I do love about technology today is I can get on YouTube and I can Google and I can find information on different coaches and just sit and listen, you know, or read books.
As far as you're coming in, you're just going to talk what you're expecting out of him.
I don't know right now. You know, it's because seeing him in high school and now seeing him up here with the big guys, it's gonna be interesting. So my expectation for him is like the rest of them. Let's go. You know, I want to see him go out there and I want to see the things that I saw when he was in high school. You know, maybe a little different, maybe a little bit slower because he's still learning and getting adapted. But that's why I recruit these kids. I want to see them play. I'm not getting any younger.
So something I didn't know was that you were Mr. Irrelevant.
Ooh.
So talk about that.
Wow. Okay, there's two emotions. Okay, there's the emotion of not knowing and being very mad. You know, I tell people that the draft is it can be very cruel. So, and I told you go from getting phone calls to people saying you're gonna be a third round draft pick, to teams actually calling you 10 minutes before the pick, saying, hey, we're going to pick you. And then you look on the TV screen and somebody else's name goes across. And you're like, whoa. You know, and then, you know, turning off the lights, turning the TV off, and then receiving a phone call, you know, I guess 4 hours later from Mr. Richardson in Carolina asking me, you know, what airport I would fly out of. And I'm like, Philadelphia. And he goes, well, we're going to select you as the last man drafted. And it's Mr. Irrelevant. And I'm like, I had no clue what Mr. Irrelevant was. Because one, I didn't watch the draft, so I didn't have like the little prelude of Mr. Irrelevant. I didn't see it. So I was upset, you know. And so after a while, when people started educating me on what Mr. Irrelevant was, I was excited, you know, because one, I got a signing bonus that was more than the 5th round draft pick. I went to California and I was in the parade with Mickey and Minnie, you know, and so I felt like a 1st round draft choice, you know. So that were the two emotions, you know, one where I was mad and the other one where I was extremely happy. And then, you know, it provided that chip on my shoulder because I wanted to prove to people that I was not irrelevant but relevant. So it worked out.
So then, given your draft experience and that waiting game and that stress and turning the TV off, just how do you kind of prepare players for whatever outcome draft night might happen?
Anything can happen. You know, teams are, your worth is going to be detracted by things that you do on the field, you know, or the things that you don't do on the field or do off the field. So I'll just say, hey, look, do all that you can, okay, and then make sure everything that you put out there is positive. And then let the chips fall where they may, you know.
So you played here in Death Valley your first season.
Yeah.
That kid, that young Mike Reed, would you have ever imagined that some years later you'd be coaching in Death Valley as well?
No. And it's like a dream. It's like a full circle movement, you know. And I tell people, yeah, I didn't go to Clemson, but I played at Clemson. You know, they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, my first year in the NFL, all my home football games were in Death Valley. So it's I can actually say I played here, for a year.
Where'd you do a week of professional development?
Well, I got together with about 7 defensive back coaches, and we just talked about defensive back technique, defenses, and stuff like that, and just went out and played some golf, like normal, and
What's the golf to football ratio there?
Bad, very bad. That's why I don't bet on myself.
Mike, Les was talking over here just about growing in his first year as a defense coordinator, just having the confidence to stand in front of the room, be the leader of the room. How much have you seen him grow as a person?
It's funny because he goes from being the guy at the back of the room to now he's the guy in the front of the room. So it's one of those things where not everybody could do that, and he's to see him evolve into that is great. It's like watching a young kid, who can't crawl, then he crawls, and then next thing you know he's running. I think Wes didn't even crawl; he's just got up and started running. So it was a good transition, and to see him grow, You know, Wes is not the guy at the back of the room anymore. You know, he's the guy that's leading the charge.
Take one more for Coach Reed.
Take one more.
Because what is it like collaborating with him in terms of ideas? You know, want to tweak this or keep this from last year? What is it like in terms of working with him?
Well, it's great, you know, because like I said, he's going to ask you, Mike, what do you think? You know, this is what I think, or this what do you think? And then collaborating between me, him, and Mickey, you know, we'll put something on there on the board that you know kids can adapt to and regurgitate and go.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
for this next round, looking left to right, we'll have Romanski Hall and Nick Hudson.